What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 1 of Get Pickled. So I'm sitting here with
David.
I'm Maxwell,
and Hieu.
and we just kind of want to talk everything pickleball. This can be from different videos that we might take at our local club. We might be reacting to some videos and just kind of what's going on in the pickleball world. So everyone should notice the guy to my right here. His name is David. He is the proud owner of 11624 Pickleball, and he's also going to want to dive deeper into the business side of it, which we're really excited to hear about. Also, of course, with all the news about was it the UAP?
UPA.
UFO, UAP.
Too many acronyms.
Too many words.
Way too many acronyms.
So David, tell us, what is UPA doing or supposedly doing in the future?
So this is all allegedly, right? This is
keyword.
This is all from tweets, and then there's denials and other things that came out. So allegedly, the UPA, which is owned by the PPA, it's not independent, is going to come out with their own standards for paddles to be used in the PPA tournaments. So this would only apply to pros in 2025, but also amateurs in 2026. And allegedly, and this was denied by the CEO of the PPA, but they didn't come out and fully deny it. They just said like, oh, well, that's not right. Allegedly, it's going to be $100,000 to buy your way in every year, and then $5,000 per paddle to get them approved, to be able to for the pros to use them on the PPA tour. And then in 2026 for amateurs who want to play in those tournaments or any other tournament that's going to go by UPA sanctions.
So what do you think that'll do for smaller paddle companies versus larger paddle companies and in between?
So I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag, right? So the big companies will be totally fine, 100 grand drop in the bank for someone like a Selkirk or a Yola or anyone like that, right? But smaller companies, someone like myself, really has to think about that, right? What's my return on investment for 100,000, right? How many more paddles am I going to sell? Does it give you some legitimacy, right? I do think it is needed. Right now, the barrier to entry is too low, and we're seeing way too many of these Instagram style companies come up. Pickleball's a hot thing. People see dollar signs. They order, 1,000, 2,000 paddles, throw a bunch of ads up, sell them, and then disappear.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a lot of what's leading to the poor quality. Of some of it's just the manufacturing process. And we could spend a whole 2 podcasts.
That's a different episode there.
Yes.
So,
saturation, yeah.
but if it's only quote unquote PPA, is it the ROI calculation a little bit harder in that way?
Well, yeah, I mean, anything you pay for like that is tough to calculate ROI, right? You sponsor a player, and it's not someone, Ben Johns, who sells paddles and you put a number on it. How do you calculate ROI? They're out in their community. People look up to them. They're selling paddles, but maybe their name's not attached to it. It's tricky to calculate that. So, but it does, you have to look from the other side of it. Gives you legitimacy, and it keeps some of the fly-by-nighters out. So it is a barrier to entry, so to say. And I do think they need to raise it a bit, but maybe not to 100,000, because that's a decent amount of money for a smaller company. It's not like, paying 5 or 10 grand, which a lot of smaller companies could pay.
So that's allegedly, but do you have a sense as to when it will actually be decided one way or the other?
No, they said soon. I sent them an email. We'll see.
So it could be tomorrow or 5 years from now.
Yeah, and this is what people are upset about with UPA or USP. See, again, too many acronyms.
UFO, LOL.
Is that they move too slow, and I think they just kind of threw this out there as soon as the thing with Yola happened. That they had to jump in and do something, and I wish it was an independent body. That's my one big gripe with it. And then, again, there's good and bad to it. So
what would you actually like for like an independent body? Because I do think that would be an interesting countermeasure to everything. What would consist of that independent body? Like, who would be within it? Who would kind of be the head of it?
Probably some engineers who have experience in the field, right? Working with composites, working with regulations, setting up guidelines, and they're independent right now. So the UPA has like a board, or I'm not sure exactly what it's called, and paddle companies sit on it, right? The big ones. And they've come out and said like, well, they just help guide us. They don't get like a vote, but still, right? When the big paddle companies are there, that's not really independent. And it's working for a for-profit company, right? Yeah. So they have a goal in mind to make money, not necessarily to put the best rules and regulations in place. Not to say that they're not going to, but right, you have to look at that as like, ooh, should the regulatory body not be tied to a for-profit.
So you don't
company.
think like a coalition of a body works? You think it should be totally independent?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise, it's self-regulation, basically, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, a lot of industries have self-regulation, right? Where they have associations that consist of the larger companies or smaller companies.
Yeah,
It's a
but we've
different
been
model.
doing self-regulation in a way. That's how it's been, right? You sign a form with USAP, self-attesting, like I will sell paddles that meet all the regulations, and it's
Yeah.
kind of on you.
I mean, it's still pickleball has obviously grown so much, but it's still the Wild West. I mean, I mean, I go on Instagram and I still see actually instead of companies selling paddles, it's companies selling a business to you so you can sell paddles. It's hey, quickly pick out what cores you want, quickly pick out the surface you want, and it's a 50 minimum quantity, and we'll get you going quick. So those are really interesting to me because I mean those are those quick kind of catalog type paddle companies that are just popping up, which is that good for the sport? I don't, I do think there does need to be kind of this barrier to this entry field because I don't want pickleball to explode so fast that kind of it happened with racquetball and everything. I do want it to slow down just a little, and of course these paddles need to get a little softer too. But that can be 5 episodes long on your preferences regarding that. So, do you also think with these new regulations allegedly, happening soon and stuff, how will that kind of affect the amateur players, or do you think it will have an effect on them?
Yeah. So the two biggest losers in this, and we don't know yet, right? Because it hasn't happened. Is one for sure is gonna be the amateur players. So right, I sponsor 2 players right now, or 3.
Yeah.
That play in the pro qualifiers, and right, we sponsor them, give them paddles, along with other things, and right, they may not have a big company look at them because they're just starting out in their journey and slowly getting better and building. We're helping them grow and be able to go to those tournaments because a lot of people don't know when you go to a tournament, right? It's about $500 in entry fees for pro qualifiers, right? And then they usually play 5-0 events as well because if you're going to PPA and playing in a pro qualifier, it's tough to win, right? APP is a little bit easier, still very, very good competition. Then you have flights, you have lodging, you have food, along with other little travel costs,
And
right?
you pay for all that.
No.
Lodging and I was about to say.
No.
Sign me
but the athletes have to, right? And if they don't have these sponsorships by smaller companies who are willing to step up and sponsor them, that makes it really hard to get into the sport and makes the sport less accessible. Because I don't know, maybe the big companies will come in and do that, or people with, I may pay the fee. I don't know yet. We have to see how it all shakes out. So hopefully enough of the smaller ones are able to do that and sponsor these pros because it does help them a lot. I found this helped my company spread. We sponsor 2 players in Atlanta, and then we've blown up in Atlanta because of that.
Yeah.
So in the other losers, maybe the consumers, right? Paddle prices are probably going to go up. That's one way to pay for this is to increase the price of the paddles. So I believe in providing really high quality paddles, but like an affordable price because, you don't need to go pay for, all the marketing or Ben John's paddle if you don't want to, right? You can get the same thing or something a little different for, about half the price. So we may have to raise them a little bit, but, again, the good side is there's a little more regulation, less fly-by-night companies and things like that. So we'll have to see how it shakes out. I'm not sure. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, a lot of speculation. So again, this is all allegedly.
That is the title of episode 1.
Allegedly.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because I mean, myself, I'm a huge paddlehead, I guess you can say, gearhead, or I guess that's more cars. I'm gonna do paddlehead. I'm gonna run with that. But I don't own my own company or anything. I just like wasting my money on a lot of paddles and then maybe selling them for a loss. That's kind of my hobby right now. So while I do love buying all these different paddles and testing all of them with all these different surfaces and stuff, one thing that I've noticed, at least with my game, is that even when I stick with a paddle for like just a week or two, I'm like so much better. Because if I use, just one, like a power paddle one week, and then I use like a control the next week, it's a whole different game. So like, just, I guess for both both of you all, I mean, we're all players here. Where do you see kind of like the paddle technology going in the future? I mean, are we going to continue going up this power mountain right now, even though delisting and stuff, or do you think kind of the community wants to kind of dial back a little bit, maybe all control?
we've talked about it before, where I think the majority of people should have a control paddle.
Yes.
So I started with a power paddle because I think people go into like, oh, I want power.
Well, they're fun.
They're fun.
They are a lot of fun.
But when you're looking at really controlling your game, control becomes something that is important. And so I eventually have switched to more control paddle. And I personally think there will still be power paddles, and because that's what people like to have because it's fun. But I do think eventually people, more amateur players, more recreational players, will realize that control paddle gives them more control over their game and have a better game overall.
Yeah, I agree. I think almost like 85% of people should play with a control paddle, and maybe even more. I mean, you look at Augie on the PPA Tour plays with the Prism Flash. I mean, that's an ultimate control paddle. Yeah. It's not as fun, but like I notice when I go out and I play the control paddle, play way better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I switch from a power to control, I'm not popping up as much. I'm not getting it out of bounds as much. And so, again, for somebody who is more of like a rec player, amateur player, it's probably something that is better, so to speak, for them in their style.
Yeah, no, I totally.
I mean, Max, you probably switch paddles every 2 weeks. So you tell us.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Maybe.
Sometimes 2 paddles and one in each hand.
I do both
when you play. Yeah.
People, no. I mean, I love paddles. I love just kind of trying them, seeing. It's what I like to do. But for me, I've really, especially over the past months, when I've really been trying to actually perfect my game more, I am going way more toward the all court paddles. Because I didn't come from tennis or anything. I came from more of like a ping pong background. So it's like, while I love kind of like those hand battles and stuff, drives I need more help with. Power I need more help with. So I still kind of want to have that edge up a little bit, but I still love the plushness of a lot of control type paddles.
Well, yeah.
Or I should say more all court. If it's too control heavy and like not poppy at all, I mean that's a whole different conversation. I mean that's not really my style. There are some people that that we play with, and I'm like, you need like a dead paddle because you can generate so much power. You just need it, to calm down a little bit. That's not me, but yeah, again, I kind of like what you said. 85%, 90% of people should be using like an all court, control paddle, and they will really see the kind of their game, I think, just improve after months of using it, and also making sure that it is weighted correctly. I mean, that's also a different conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of those amateur players, or even just kind of, players that go out for fun, or maybe that are starting to do their first tournaments at the 3.0, 3.5 level, weighting your paddle with, tungsten tape, lead tape, whatever it might be, can really make a difference within your game.
Everyone should weight their paddle.
Yeah.
And experiment
do you guys have
with
any
it.
different types of like weights that you guys like for your paddles? Or for me, it kind of just depends on the paddle itself. So I know some people, they're like, oh no, I need it head heavy. I want it, No,
I usually have the tape just above the neck. So for a little bit more control. Again, for my own style, it is not putting the tape on top because that's more of a power play in that respect.
Yeah.
But for me, it's also, we can get into more different types of equipment and accessories, but I actually put 2, depending on the paddle, 1 or 2 extra over grips, because I found that it helps me not grip the paddle as much. A death grip, so to speak, as you pointed out. A death grip will cause pop-ups and whatnot. And so and I think to the previous point, people always ask, what paddle should I get? And I think it's a tough question to answer for everybody because everybody has different styles, different play styles, different backgrounds. Did you come from tennis? Did you come from not? And I can say, this is what I use, but here are 5 that you could try. I think that's the important thing for people to try out when they're either entering the sport or trying to switch to a different paddle. We can say what I use, what David uses, but everybody has their own, should eventually find their own sweet spot, I think.
Well, Hieu, what is your background? I mean, so I bet our listeners would like to kind of know what our backgrounds are. Like, how did we get into pickleball? What is your
Well,
kind of background?
I mean, I played very low level tennis in high school for a couple years.
Like 40, 50 years ago.
About 60 years ago.
We
60
call him
years,
Grandpa.
Yeah, 60 years ago. But that's pretty much it. I think, again, I would consider myself more of like a casual-ish player of, I try to keep up with the two of you, and
I'd say you're a little more than casual.
Yeah.
a little bit more than
You're
casual.
out there drilling at 6 a.m.
Casual competitive, we'll call it.
I would say you're competitive.
Competitive.
I would say you are definitely a competitive.
Yes, I am competitive, trying to keep up with these two. Probably, I consider myself 3-7-ish, depending on the day. Could go down or up, depending on the day. As most
We
of
all
us.
have those days.
We all have those days.
Yeah.
I would say I started like most people, COVID, right? When we're all in the middle of COVID, finding something to do. They were they're redoing a park across the street from me, and I saw these squares on the court. I'm like, at the time it was just started. I'm like, is this adult Foursquare? Because the nets hadn't come up yet. I was like, what is this? And so I looked into it, and the county was giving lessons, and so I started that way. And then that was 2.5 years ago. I met Max probably 3-4 months after that, and then 6 or 7 months after that, I met David. And so it's been almost 3 years.
Wow.
So
I still remember the first time I actually walked into our local courts, and I posted on the Facebook page like, "Hey, I just moved to the area. Like, where do you play?" And then our buddy Brandon responded, and I showed up, and I was actually kind of nervous. I'm like, "All right, I haven't really been playing long." I'm like, "I don't know. I've been playing with my mom and her friends."
Yeah.
And no, I mean everyone, of course, was very welcoming. I just remember how cold it was. I mean,
Well, at the time
we would play when it was literally like almost ice on some other courts, windy and everything, and we were
I think
out there.
that first year, because I lived right across the street from the court.
Yeah, he's about 2 houses down from the courts.
We had this text group, and it would be one of those, "Hey Hieu, can you walk out and see if there's
Yeah.
ice on the
Weatherman.
court?" Because the ice was the only thing, ice and snow was the only thing that would stop us. And so we would go out like 20 degrees. We'd be out there. We went through so many balls because we cracked every single one of them for a while at 20 degrees. But now that we found other facilities that are indoor, we don't have to worry about that so much. But yeah, that's my start. What about you? Well, we kind of know, David, but what about you, Max?
Yeah. What about you, Max?
Yeah. So I started playing actually with my mom. So I remember one day I was at my mom's house, and I think she went to like Kohl's or something. And she came home and she goes, "Oh yeah, a friend of mine mentions the sport pickleball, and I saw this, like how they have like at Kohl's or something, like a cheap pickleball set and stuff. It's not even the cheap sets that you guys are thinking about. This is like a plastic set that like a baby might even use." And she was just like, "Yeah, like I got this set. You want to like hit it with me?" And I looked at it. I was like, "This is like for 5-year-olds." Like, now I think the set literally was for 5-year-olds, but I'm like, this sport is like, what is this? And then eventually, she actually went to go play. Thank God she did not bring those paddles, because that would have been really probably embarrassing for her. Because I mean,
Well,
like
embarrassing. They'd probably break.
Yeah, I mean, they were literally like the size of like a small pancake. I don't know where she got them. But yeah, so she played a couple times, and then I actually went out with her, and I was hooked. First rally. I come from more of like a ping pong background. I played in high school. I played a little in college. And I actually got beat, my first or second game, by this old lady named Wendy. I'll never forget it. She kicked my butt, and I was like, no, that did not, like, what? And I was so like that. There's a sport where I'm very athletic. I grew up playing sports and everything, and like a 60-year-old just kicked my butt, and I was like,
Someone older than
that
me.
is. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And I was so like perplexed, and I was like, okay, I gotta continue this. And then my ADD went forward, and now we are 40 paddles deep. Now it's like 20. It's still
More than 20, more than 40.
Maybe
I've seen your
20
wall.
and 40.
maybe somewhere in the middle. But yeah, no, I fell in love with it. And then I live about 30 minutes away from my mom, so I was like, I don't want to have to keep going down there to play. So I've eventually found the group here, and it's just blossomed since then. I've been obsessed with the sport, and I hope it continues. I don't see myself slowing down, unless my fiance is still happy with me. I think anyone in a relationship has that problem. It's just one more game, one more
Well,
game.
At least it's not golf. We could name the podcast Golf Sucks.
Yes, golf. Yeah, golf is way longer too. I feel like.
Well, it's more expensive.
be.
It takes longer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, imagine.
David, we'll get into your longer story later, but how about we do a short how you got into it?
Yeah. Well, I was in Hilton Head, as everyone knows, playing, and my aunt invited me, and we went on vacation, and I went to play. I'm like, get in the court with some old ladies just like you. And I'm like, oh, come from tennis. I'm going to whoop them.
Yeah.
Nope. I got very humbled very quickly, and then came back to DC from vacation. I was like, I'm going to join a league. So join a local league and just got addicted like everyone else. And everyone kind of knows the rest of the story from there. And we'll probably do a longer one.
We will do a long one
later on.
Because really not everybody knows. But
No.
yeah, we will.
But yeah, that led me into starting the business and now going full time starting in a few weeks here.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you maybe don't know, David's going full time on the paddle business. So.
It was a side business. Now it's a main hustle. Was a side hustle. So yeah, I'm excited. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Fun times, a lot going on. So
we got some secret paddles behind there.
Oh yeah, I got some more.
And behind us,
the Monarchs coming out for those that know. But that'll be awesome. That should be out in about 2 weeks. And for those looking for a control paddle or something with a gigantic sweet spot, King of the Resets, what we're calling it.
Solid. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but speaking of exciting things, what are y'all excited about this week in pickleball or coming up?
I would say, I mean, I think PPA's in San Clemente, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think that's where they're at.
Helen's playing. So we sponsor Helen. She was out there. She played today.
Awesome.
She's all right. It's tough. There was like 60 something people, I think, in the women's singles pro qualifier. She made the main draw in mixed doubles and gender doubles. So I didn't see the scores yet. I didn't look, but she was just very well.
What, like at like the pro level, is it harder to get in? I don't even know if that makes sense. Do you have more of a chance to go in maybe to the main draw in a like doubles rather than like a singles, or does it just depend on what your game is better? Like, I don't know if it's more competitive at the singles level or at the mixed doubles level.
So
if
don't quote me on this. I'm sure someone in the comments.
Again, allegedly is the title.
Yes, someone in the comments will tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure it goes by like points ranking on the PPA. So they look at the number of points, and based on the draw, you either make it to the main draw or have to play in the qualifier. And I think anyone can apply to play in the qualifier, and I don't know what the qualifications for that are.
Okay.
But yeah, that's as far as I know. So it just depends who's in the field that week, right?
Who's there?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So, any paddles, any gear, anything y'all are excited about?
No. Hieu, are you getting any new paddles soon?
No.
Yeah. He was like, we sticking with one paddle. We didn't talk about sticking with one paddle. That's the topic for another.
Okay. So for the most part, there's one paddle that I've been sticking with for a while. I might pick back up another paddle once I walk out this door. We'll see how that goes.
Security guard might catch you.
Security guard might get me. But I think so for me, because Max, you and I played in a kind of mini tournament, whatever you want to call it,
small little,
last week. So for me, it's just working on resets. That's my kind of goal for the next week or so. So
sounds like an exciting week.
That transition zone.
So exciting to work on it so that, again, just to be better, to keep up with the two of you.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
We also gave him ankle weights.
Yes.
This is Max is doing.
Maxwell believes putting ankle weights or using ankle weights will help my footwork.
We should call this the transition zone, transitioning to the end.
Yeah.
That Chris calls it the kitchen. We'll call it the transition zone.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Yeah, no, it's because on the court, you can, a little foo fun.
I've got heavy feet.
Yeah,
I'll admit that.
So, I actually, one thing about me, I did grow up, played some ping pong, but soccer was my main sport growing up. I played probably 16 years of it. And that's what we would do with usually like defenders who were very heavy footed, give them ankle weights. They had to wear them during practice and stuff. And it, if you actually are consistent.
I did do it one night and wore it for about an hour. And then when I took them off, it definitely felt very different.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm not going to be to a point where I'm wearing them around the house, but we'll see.
See, that's why.
I'm not so sold on these. We'll see.
Something that you all may learn is Maxwell always has
I always
a
have
new
an
idea for
Yeah.
something.
No, but I'm telling you, those ankle weights, consistency. If you actually do like agility training with them, they can actually help.
Coach Maxwell.
But also, I mean, who doesn't want to see Hieu in ankle weights while playing? I mean,
I'm good.
It's,
I'm
love
all
it.
set.
David's good.
I love it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but no, but I mean, some new stuff that is coming out. I mean, obviously there's a lot of new paddles coming out this summer with a lot of new technology. We even have some new balls coming out too.
Yeah, I played with the Franklin, the Eco
Yeah.
Beta ball,
Yeah.
and I liked it.
Yeah.
So it was like, as everyone says, a mix between a Dur and a Franklin. Between it goes out around, but doesn't get funny bounces like the Vulcan, which I won a match in the PPA in a singles match off a serve that just didn't bounce, and I felt bad. I don't want to win like that. But like this one,
Yeah.
played singles last night. Played like I think it was like 11 games with one ball, no issues, no weird bounces, and it plays fast enough. Because Franklin's right now when it's hot out they're just like a marshmallow.
Yeah.
So
My reflexes feel so good when I play with them hot. I'm just like, I'm unbeatable.
yeah, well, yeah, it makes it easier,
It makes
but
it great.
it's just
But no,
yeah, it's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love, if they can get that sweet spot between kind of, that Franklin, the, even like the S1s,
And
the
just have it
Duras.
not have funny bounces and not crack like a Franklin. They have the
Yeah.
unicorn of a ball,
Yeah.
I think.
There's certain balls out there where it's after a couple hits, it looks like an egg. And it's
Yes.
like, this is not good.
Yeah, and as you and I found out during our first winter, there are some that
Yeah.
just don't survive. Well, I
Yeah.
would say not many survive 20 degrees
No.
outside. So it's something we figured.
We
out.
almost didn't. Hand warmers in pockets.
Yeah,
and-
no, no, thank you. You'll find me on the beach.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No. So, no, it's cool. I mean, this summer, I think there's a lot of new exciting stuff within pickleball. Not only gear, but new rules. I mean, new standards. I mean, it's exciting is, I think, an interesting word for it. I think everyone is just very eager to learn about what the future is going to be. And, just kind of see how these paddle companies are going to go forward with them.
Yeah. That's what keeps it fun, though. It's boring if everything stays the same to me.
Yeah.
Right. And you can only put out certain things, or it's fun to push the envelope. We've got some new surfaces sitting over there that we're going to test this week, and
Yeah, they're
some
all
other
glass.
things. So
Glass. No.
what?
Glass surfers.
They're
No,
all-
they're
they're
not
all-
glass.
they're all
They're
glass.
not glass surfers.
Just
But
imagine that
yeah.
when you're hitting and like it like goes off the sun, and so you blind your like a window. It's like
This is why Max is not product development.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm
He's just the idea guy.
the ideas guy.
Yeah, I do.
I'm the
Well,
unpaid.
So to answer your question about like exciting, so to speak, for me, what I'm trying to do is just make minor adjustments. So is it
Yeah.
a different type of grip?
Yeah.
Moving the tape a little bit differently here or there. I don't want to like wholesale change the paddle and the grip, and because you never really know what you're changing. So if you kind of do one or the other, I think for me, like I've tried a couple different grips. I'm going back to what I've liked before. So again, for me, it's just
Yeah.
seeing what's coming out. That's relatively minor changes to what I have now to see if it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a new paddle, a new grip, and I'm speaking for myself. I have to tell myself this always. Putting 3 grams on one side is not going to change my game at all, really. I mean, it will change the paddle a little and stuff, but it's like, oh, I missed that shot. I need a little more lead on this side. It's like, all right, that's not going to help you when you're just hitting drops into the net. You got to work on other things too. But yeah, no, I'm always trying to do it. Maybe a little more than I should, but I'm trying to be more constructive with it. Like, it's like, all right, this grip is actually way too thick. I actually do need to decrease it. But also just staying consistent. I think, if you really are trying to get better, you got to just stay consistent with the same paddle, and really try to play with people that are, higher than you. I mean, and that's tough. It's tough to find some players that want to play with like people that just might be a little, etched below them.
Yeah. It's not easy.
It's not,
But-
and
Yeah.
it's
Just got to keep pushing, sell them on it. I don't know.
You
Maybe
guys put up with me, so it's okay.
Yeah, me too. We got to put up with you tomorrow morning. So
Yes, you do.
you buy us breakfast.
Yeah.
I say with the early practice tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I think.
Yeah,
Well, Max
That's-
has an energy drink
I
ready
do.
for that.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know how he sleeps,
it's
but
brutal.
Yeah.
well, I was good first pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, we have some cool ideas that we want to do with this.
Yeah,
we do.
we'll work through it and
We talked and
Yeah, like
figure
Mike
out-
said, we'll do some reviews of play, be
Yeah.
it our own or others, review of products, our opinions of
Yeah.
products. So
we have some fun ideas too.
Yeah.
We want to do like kind of just make this fun. I mean,
Yeah.
we all.
Oh yeah, that's what this is all about.
That's
We
what-
love the game, and it's just talking, having fun.
and eventually get for episode 3 we're thinking.
Yeah,
So
no, we're gonna bleep that out.
we're gonna.
No, we can't say that.
we cannot say that.
No,
Kidding, it's a joke.
that will be bleeped out.
Oh, come on, it's a
And I think
joke.
we've made it all the way to the kitchen from the transition zone now.
Yes.
Got it. Awesome. Well, yeah. Thank you, everyone that has listened to episode 1. If you have any recommendations for the future of what you want to hear,
Yeah, throw it in the comments.
yeah, let us
Make sure
know.
to hit that like and subscribe button. Have to say it.
Yeah, of course. If you had a great
Not a video
time,
without it.
tell everyone. If you didn't, tell no one.
On that note, we'll see you next time.
Peace.